Welcome back. And right now, South Korea is in national mourning after 179 people lost their lives in the deadliest plane crash in the country's history. Investigators are combing through the evidence as they try to figure out what caused this crash, including whether a bird strike played a role. The plane's final tragic moments were caught on camera, and a warning: it is tough to watch. You see the plane skid down the runway on its belly, crashing into that wall and then engulfing into a fireball. Only 2 people, crew members, seated in the tail of the plane survived. Joining us from Seoul, South Korea, is Thomas Maresca, Seoul correspondent for United Press International. Also with us, NBC News aviation analyst Captain John Cox, a 30-year veteran with U.S. Airways. He was in charge of U.S. Airways Safety Office. He also ran the Pilots Union Safety Office. Thank you both for being here. Thomas, start us off. What is the latest in this investigation?
Good morning, Anna. So there's a few more details have come out. We've gotten some confirmation that the pilot did report actually getting struck by birds in his Mayday request. A couple of minutes before that, the control tower had warned that there were birds in the area, and we do know that he called in a Mayday a couple of minutes later and said that he had been hit by birds, and he requested doing a go-round and trying to approach the runway from the other side. Beyond that, the details of what happened and why all these failures for the landing gear to come down and for the flaps to properly extend, we still don't know and probably won't for a long time. In the meantime, basically the government is looking into areas that may have exacerbated the situation. For one thing, the planes themselves, the Transport Ministry is going to inspect all 101 Boeing 737-800s that are operated by domestic carriers. That was a plane involved in the crash. And a spokesperson or an official for the Transport Ministry said that they're going to focus on some questions about problems that Jeju Air may have with some of the landing gear maintenance or situations with its planes. Actually today, Monday morning here, another Jeju Air aircraft returned to its departure airport from Gimpo Airport in Seoul, turned around and landed back because they reported there was some issue with the landing gear, and just as a precaution returned. So they're going to focus on that. They're going to focus on maintenance of the aircraft. The transport official said that Jeju Air is known to have a higher utilization rate of its aircraft, operating them more frequently, shorter turnaround times than comparable airlines. So they're going to look into that as well. The acting president is also has ordered just an overall overview and inspection of South Korea's aviation system writ large.
A lot of moving parts right now, and those 2 key pieces you point out, the bird strike report, as well as the issue with landing gear not being deployed, at least when we look at the images of the plane hitting the ground without the landing gear in place. Uncertain how that came to be. But, Captain, based on what we know at this moment, what stands out to you? What could have gone wrong?
Well, first, it's important to recognize it's still very early in this investigation. What we have heard so far is that there was an advisory about birds in the area. One of the pilots reports that they have taken a bird strike and that they're going to go around. This would be absolutely normal. Where things begin to get unusual is it is a very short period of time from the time they announce that until they're back on the runway. And it's important to understand that this airplane landed on the runway on centerline, and it had some 6,000 feet to stop. So had that concrete berm not been there, this would have been an entirely different event. The reasons for the landing gear not being extended could be the fact that that second engine was no longer producing power. That would cause a number of things, such as the wing flaps and slats, not to be available. And it would require an alternate extension of the landing gear. So given the time that they had, and the fact that we know the airplane landed with the wing flaps and slats in the retracted position and the landing gear, it's likely the pilots had a higher priority of just getting the airplane onto the runway successfully, which they did. To maximize the chances of a good outcome. Had it not been for that concrete berm, I think that the likelihood of a large number of survivors is quite possible.
Oh, it's just such a tragedy that only 2 people survived. Again, they were in the tail of the plane. It looked like the impact was in the front when they hit that barrier. Captain, of course, this plane is a Boeing 737-800. Boeing obviously has been in the news for a lot of reasons it wouldn't want to be recently. What do we know about this plane and its track record?
The 737-800 is one of the most successful airplanes ever to enter commercial service. There are well over 4,000 of them flying. They have been in service for over 20 years. It is widely utilized. It has a very good safety record. So it is one of the success stories in commercial aviation.